happy Wednesday. Thank you so much for tuning in and for choosing to spend some of your time with me. I'm Maria Milagros, and this is Wizdom Wednesday. And happy May, happy spring, happy joy, happy joy. For some people, it might not be a time of happy, and joy. And during the month of February, I did a love journey where I had these amazing women come with me on this little exploration of ourselves to get closer to love here so that we could get closer to loving other people, because we cannot give what we do not have. And I recently came upon a list of questions that came out of that journey. And so I wanted to share some of the questions and some of the answers. And we're going to do this in a little video series. And today I picked two questions because they're kind of similar. The first question is, how do I not feel guilty about spending time on self-care? Great question. And then the second question is, how do I get rid of shame of past mistakes? And the reason why I wanted to do these two questions is because they're both on the spectrum of guilt and shame. So let's start with the first one. How do I feel guilty about spending time on how do I not feel guilty about spending time on self-care? And here's the thing. We have been taught to put everyone else ahead of us, especially as females, right? Females especially have been taught to take care of other people, and that is where your value is. When little girls are really small, we give them baby dolls, and we say, your job is to take care of other people. We don't necessarily say it directly like that, but that is essential what we're saying when we give them a doll and say, your job is to take care of her and tend to her and love on her, and right? Which is fine, because it provides opportunities to learn how to nurture and support and to be there for other people. But it can also be problematic, because then we start teaching young girls from a very young age that is where their value is. If you look at toys that we give little boys, it's creativity and building and cars and adventure. You worry about you and your cars and your adventure and your building and your stuff. And the girls, you worry about all these other little things that need to be tended to and taken care of. So from a very young age, females are taught that our value comes from service of others. And when we are in service of others, and only when we are in service of others, do we have value and worthiness. And so obviously we know now, right, as we grow older, like, wait a second, I'm still important and valuable, even if I'm not tending to other people, i.e. the people that I work with, my family, my kids, my spouse, my partner, my friends, my parents, my. So it's a little obstacle, opportunity. It is an opportunity when we find ourselves feeling guilty about pausing the service to others to be in service to ourselves, because of the programming and because of how long we've been taught to believe that is how we are valuable. So of course it's going to feel like guilt, because we're putting ourselves first when the training says put everyone else first, and you go at the very end, back, bottom of the list. This requires practice in order to change the direction of that train, right? We think about like a train of thought. And in order to change the direction of that train, we need to first bring that train to a slow down, and then we can put it in the opposite direction. So give yourself some time, some kindness, some patience. And this is a great opportunity for you to write some affirmations like, I am deserving and worthy of self-care. When I take care of myself, I am better available to help others around me. When I put myself first, I give from my overflow. I cannot give what I do not have, so I have to put myself first, right? Something along those lines, like writing it out kind of, and really letting yourself reprogram the old programming that has been driving you and that drives your guilt. All right. The next question is, how do I get rid of shame of past mistakes? Now, this is a very delicious question because it has a couple of folds to it. We might not actually ever release all of the shame of past mistakes, especially if those past mistakes caused real harm to someone else, right? And I'm not like you told someone that the dress made them look fat. I mean, that's hurtful, but it is words, and right? Like, I'm not justifying. What I'm saying is, like, that's not as weighted as physically, sexually years of mental and emotional abuse kind of, right? So if that's the kind of mistakes that we're talking about, those really heavy weighted, your humanity will require you to carry a little bit of shame forever and always, which is a necessary part of holding you accountable so that you don't do it again, right? So if we're talking about other mistakes, like you went to a party and got drunk and slept with somebody, that kind of stuff, and I want to be clear, I'm not minimizing that stuff, because if we hold on to it and we tell ourselves this horrible story about who we are because we did that thing, then it feels really stressful and it's a struggle and it's damaging to ourselves, right? So for sure, that can be very stressful. But let's say that's the scenario. We can look at that and say, clearly I took action looking for love in all the wrong places. I was looking for comfort. I did the best that I could at that time. And I was in a space where that was the only way that I knew how to meet my needs, right? And that's real. Like all of that stuff is real. And if you were who you were at that time again, you would have probably done the same scenario. You would have probably done the same thing, right? So again, it goes back to kindness, treating yourself with kindness and rewriting the story around the thing that you feel shame about. Now, keep in mind, that's one side of the spectrum. If on the other end of the spectrum, it really is something really damaging to another person, every time we insult another person, that's a violation for sure. And I'm talking about the bigger, heavier stuff that cause significant harm over time, either mentally, emotionally, physically, sexually, death, for real, right? Because we live in a world where people kill people, and you might have been one of those people, whether you did it by accident or not. And in that place too, there's a need for self-forgiveness. There's a need for kindness to yourself as well. And there's a need for holding on to a certain level of accountability. And maybe it's not shame. It's more like holding on to, it feels like shame, right? Holding on to that piece and kind of putting it in your pocket. It shouldn't be something that crushes you and you carry all the time as you heal from it and evolve, but it should be something that's always with you, so that you keep yourself in a space of accountability and you hold on to your humanity and do everything in your power to not repeat those mistakes, right? And yes, I did do this because everyone weighs mistakes and calls mistakes different, right? If somebody spills milk, I'm like, oh, you spilled milk, clean it up. And then I know other people who somebody knocked over water and they lost their mind. Like, oh my God, I can't believe you did that. So, right? So it really is about where you are, how you are measuring and weighing that mistake. Did you learn and grow from it? Are you able to evolve from that place? Are you able to ask forgiveness of yourself, of other people? And if you're not able to ask forgiveness, are you able to kind of put forgiveness into the world for yourself and for other people in order to reduce the weight of the guilt and the shame, because they're debilitating, so that you can take the lessons, take the remembrance of your humanity, take the love that still existed in yourself, even when you make mistakes, whatever that is on the spectrum, and grow with that, grow from that place, right? So this could be a 6-hour conversation. You know that. And I'm trying to cram it into 10 minutes here. So that's what I have. I'm going to continue to answer these questions. If you yourself have your own questions of things that are blocking you from your own ability to love yourself and to care and connect with yourself, send them. Don't send a whole dissertation. Just send me your questions and then I'll add them to the series and we can just let this roll out for a little bit, because we cannot give what we do not have. And all things begin and end right here. The relationship that we have here, first and foremost, informs every other relationship in our lives. So it is imperative that we develop a healthy, loving, kind relationship here first so that we can give from that place without destroying ourselves to prove our worthiness, right? I remember I saw this meme once, and I don't know who said it, and it said, do not set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. And we tend to do that when we don't know our own worthiness and value and feel like, well, I guess I have to burn so they can stay warm because then at least I'm of value. And we are already, but a lot of us are disconnected from that. So if you have your questions of self-love and self-care and loving yourself, send them and let's unpack it. Let's talk about it. And I will do this in short snippets because really I want these to be like tangible takeaways. If you have any other questions or comments, you know how to reach me. You can put it in the comments below or you can email me. Check out my website. It's www.mariamilagros.net. If you have an event or where you need a speaker, let me know because I'm filling up my calendar and that I want that to be my primary drive is doing public speaking. And I'm currently not taking any new coaching clients. My calendar is full. It's amazing and magical. And give this video a thumbs up or a thumbs down, right? Honor your truth. And subscribe. And I'm sending you love and light. And we all have made mistakes. It's part of the human process and evolution. And the question is, what can we learn? How can we grow? How can we evolve from those places so that we don't have to carry the heaviness of guilt and shame that crushes us and prevents us from living our best lives? And each and every one of us has made mistakes somewhere on the spectrum, if not multiple places. So know that and know that you're not alone. And you are loved and you are held by the entire universe. Sending you love and light. Peace.